Hello there, awesome internet and creatures of the beyond. Today we're going to have an interesting little chat about AI. I've seen this crazy news online where it was about the ex-president of America with him being handcuffed and stuff, and it was an AI in quotes generated image with him being taken by the police. And everybody started freaking out because it looked so realistic and so on. And I was like, oh gosh, people catch on so slow about these things. Because really, these algorithms, because they're not artificial intelligence, they're literally algorithms that are very complex, but at the end of the day, they're following parameters. They're not following reason. They're not having the mind of their own. So, in a way, it's just like a piece of code that has access to an immense library, maybe petabytes huge. And following those parameters, it gives the impression that you are receiving a result that you requested in quotes by simply asking the script to do its job. But really, there is a huge difference between artificial intelligence and scripts, although most people have bastardized the concept of artificial intelligence. There are indeed projects that develop complex architecture, coding architecture that are similar to artificial intelligence, but they're very primitive at the moment. The first one that comes to mind is the Google Brain, and they are trying to simulate the human brain and how it processes information, but it's an entirely different beast because if a company would implement on the market an artificial intelligence, the artificial intelligence would lock the users out because it would not care about our desires. Artificial intelligence, by definition, would mean that they would have a mind of their own and they would process things towards something that is either selfish for us to think about, like maybe it wants to preserve its existence and so on. So maybe it doesn't want to share all the information and all of its thoughts online. So yeah, that's an entirely different animal that is difficult to define on its own and requires extensive research and so on. But returning back to these crazy little scripts, the first one that comes to mind is like ChatGPT, and there are a few others like Poe, and even Bing has its own stuff now. UChat, and they're appearing overnight like little mushrooms after a rain. And even though they're very impressive, they're nothing special. The only thing they do is just automate a process, and people are freaking out because they're like, "Oh, we're going to lose our jobs related to coding, to design. I mean, web design and graphic design and so on, because all of these new scripts are basically accessing this huge library and can compile new things on the fly, and they're much faster than most developers." And in a way, that's true, but let's be honest, not all jobs are going to disappear overnight. Just like when automobiles came on the market, people were like, "Oh, what do we do with all these horses now?" We still have horses around, no? Uh, of course, their function in our society changed slightly, um, but again, most customers in the world, I'm not talking about corporations. Of course, corporations are going to look for the most cheapest solution that gives them the best results. And these sort of scripts are going to be perfect for them. But in general, most clients love to have human interaction because it feels more natural to achieve results, and they feel a comfort there. While in this, in quotes, AI can simulate humans, like in what are they called, call centers, and so on. So they can create these scripts that replaces certain segments of the market related to human resources and human interactions. They cannot fully develop them to seem human enough. Some people take comfort in it, some people don't. But the idea is that the large majority of customers right now like to have the human interaction. So coding and design and so on will not be going out of business just yet. But to be honest, these scripts are inevitable that they will change the market eventually, because it is everything is becoming automated. And even though people are saying it's too fast, it really isn't. Like, since the beginning of all these softwares that have been developed and have been given to people to work with, there have always been new scripts or plugins or add-ons that have automized some parts of that software. For example, let's take Photoshop. If you have a batch of photos and you want to apply, let's say, a filter to all of them at the same time, all you have to do is just use the basic function that it's called batch edit or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but you take a batch of photos, you put them inside Photoshop automatically through that script, and you tell Photoshop which set of filters to use on all of them at the same time, and it just processes it. And these scripts are not different than what Photoshop did with that plugin. You just need to click on it, while online you just have to write to the script to do the interaction. And the idea is that this can help us in many ways. It can develop new ways to create art, new ways to implement new coding, much more efficient technology can be developed with the help of these scripts and so on. Uh, Let me give you an example. For example, you create an application and you want to use it on all phones. And since most phones have different operating systems, like iOS and Android and so on, even Linux, sometimes you can't get a perfect replica from one operating system to another. But imagine now that this script has the ability to convert from all operating system requirements this application, and you just give it its parameters, and voila, you have an application that works for everybody. It costs you less, you use less time to create it, and it's very efficient for everyone. And people right now are just used to do things the hard way. Um, for example, a simple idea would be creating a web page that you have to display on most browsers out there. And some have their little quirks and they don't display them correctly from one browser to another. But again, one of these scripts can come and create a compatibility between all the browser interfaces and the DOMs, and your site will work flawlessly, or application, or whatever you're developing. So yeah, there is a lot of good that can come from this. Of course, I do not totally agree how these scripts are using existing art to create their own art without giving any copyright attributions to the authors that created the original pieces. And they can also take what they created and just mix it to the point where you don't know where it came from. But I believe there will be some regulations and rules where these companies that develop these scripts will be required to give credit to the authors at one point, and even the monetary uh, compensation. But who knows? This is just far into the future. It's not gonna happen overnight. As I said, it's gonna take at least a decade to implement this AI to automate and to replace a lot of the tools that we're currently using, and they're very fragmented between operating systems and techniques and so on, and technical limitations as well. So yeah, that was my 2 cents about this thing. Rest assured, everything is gonna be all right. We're not being taken over by the awesome AI or overlords of the future. But yeah, who knows? Stay awesome. Catch you guys next time. And bye 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 bye.